When it comes to soil and growing in it, many people choose to use a raised bed because of compaction. In a raised bed, typical raised beds are about 4 foot wide, so you can conveniently reach halfway through the bed on both sides. But in a traditional ground garden, you're stepping where you might be potentially planting. Now, whether you go with a raised berm format like we have in our large garden, or you've designated certain areas where you can walk and not walk, we still want to talk about how devastating compaction is. We're in our celery bed here where we've planted some of the celery. The soil's nice and loose and fluffy, and that's the way it's going to stay because we've got a distinct walk path and a permanent grow space. So let's take our pitchfork, hold it waist high, and drop it. Nearly goes all the way to the top of the tines there to show how loose that soil really is. That soil will always be that loose because there'll be no potential accident of walking in it because we know where the growth space is. Now let's go over to where the way the garden used to be last year and take a look at how dense the soil really is and how devastating that can be to plants you try to plant in that location. So we're over here in one of the beds that we've not turned over and begin to create the raised berms. This is where tomatoes used to be last year. You can see the remains of one of them here. Let's pull it up and see such a piddly little root system. Obviously some of the follicles have died away over the year and there should be a little more of a taproot, but there's not much there, and the reason being is compaction. Last year we just had a traditional ground garden. We had rows of tomatoes and we walked and picked our tomatoes. Well, the soil here, very dense, and if we do the fork test again, it doesn't go very deep. What that indicates is it's very compacted. Just like in big ag industry, tractors and implements are offset so the wheels don't roll where the crops are going to be planted. Same thing in the garden. Don't walk where you're going to plant because your plants won't be able to get enough oxygen and there'll be compressed roots and they won't flourish as prevalent as you hope they will be.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.